if you slow down and you're patient to understand, okay, this is going to take time on my part, investment in myself. It's going to take focus. It's going to take patience. And it's going to take a little bigger picture ahead of me that is still shorter than the path behind you of your binge, emotional, compulsive, restrictive eating. So today we're talking specifically about binge eating. And binge eating it could be something you're struggling with maybe for the past few months. It could have been something that started developing more through quarantine and through the pandemic. It could be something that you've struggled with for decades. So regardless of the length of time that you have struggled, binge eating can be something that feels like it takes over your mind, your thoughts, all the other behaviors. It has a ripple effect, not just physically, where you can physically feel ill for hours, if not days after a binge, but it's also the emotional ripple effect and ramification, what goes through your head, beating yourself up after a binge. So today I'm going to be talking about my STOP method, STOP. So this is, I want to be very clear right off the bat. So I have been in the fitness industry for nearly 30 years as my profession. And I shifted gears a number of years ago, about 5 or so years ago, to help women specifically heal food issues. Because what I realized is, like, if we never even went on that first diet, like I wouldn't have developed all the fucked up food issues that I had for 20 something years. So our diet culture and going on diets contributes to behaviors like binge eating and emotional eating, compulsive eating, restrictive eating, all of the ways that we manipulate food. So I don't have an approach where I'm just going to give you little tips to put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. I just can't do that anymore. I feel a greater responsibility to lay out a larger picture of what it looks like on a path to recovery and healing. Because if this is, like I said, something that you're, trying to figure out from 4 months ago, 4 years ago, 4 decades ago, there takes some time to unpack and understand and remap new healthier behaviors. So giving little tips and little sugar coated, if you will, tidbits about how to stop a binge in its tracks isn't all that helpful. And I really want to be someone who truly is helpful in helping you create freedom, long-term, lasting, like really having a life that you feel rich, fulfilled. You feel like the food you eat is part of how you enjoy your life. It's not that point of love, hate in your life. Before we even get into it, I want you to start wrapping your head around, instead of being so desperate to stop it in its tracks right now and have some idea that all of a sudden I'm going to do this 1, 2, 3 magic tips, and then tomorrow everything's going to be fine and I'm never going to binge again. I want you to immediately start thinking a bigger picture and the long game. Because what kept me stuck is thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to go on this next diet and that's going to fix it. And I'm just going to manipulate my food in this different way. And then that's going to fix it. And all it did was pushed me, it kicked the can. It just made me stay in the problem longer and longer and longer, because I was constantly seeking immediate results from stopping the behavior. So I want you to really understand that the way you accelerate your results in healing your issues with food is actually stepping back to slow down. If you slow down and you're patient to understand, okay, this is going to take time on my part, investment in myself. It's going to take focus. It's going to take patience, and it's going to take a little bigger picture ahead of me that is still shorter than the path behind you of your binge, emotional, compulsive, restrictive eating. Okay. So if you think about it that way, we're immediately setting ourselves up in this STOP method for success. All right. Because having these quick fixes is not really what you're here in this group for. We want long-term success, want lasting, don't want, I don't use any willpower, and I don't teach willpower to my clients. It's not the thing. It's not which it's not required. When you heal from the inside, then the side effect is you're just not needing food to fill the things anymore. It just doesn't, you just know better because you now have other tools and resources you go to, other people in your life you go to work these emotions out and these things out, so that way you're not going to food. So we're going to go through my STOP acronym. Okay, so STOP. I'm going to review it real quick, and then I'm going to go into breaking down each of the acronyms, each letter in STOP, okay, with a little bit more detail. So S stands for see, T stands for talk, O stands for observe, and P stands for plan. And I will even add plan with a professional. So STOP, see, talk, observe, plan. Okay, so before I go further and I go dive into the first one, see, what I will say is I'm just going to throw my link into, if you want to talk to me one-to-one, I want to put this link out there for you. I actually finally saw this mindset questionnaire I have everyone kind of fill out before we jump on a call together, so that way I get to know you. I finally put together a proper URL, realfit.tv/talk. Okay, so see, stop. Okay, so the first one is you must be willing to see the impacts of the behavior and how it is actually detrimental to so many areas of your life. Um, so if you're still in the place, which I already know, if you're, let's talk about C, if your eyeballs are on this video, even and on the replay, or I don't care how many months from now and you're watching the replay, that tells me that you are already understanding this behavior is really affecting my life. It's affecting how I feel going away for the weekend. It's affecting how I feel in my body. It's packing on the pounds because I can't stop the binging. It's affecting my self-esteem. It's affecting my confidence. It's affecting the intimacy in my relationship. All these ways. So see if you can see that all the impacts that behavior is having, then that's the first part of this 4-part foundation. You have to be able to understand that that's really what's going on. Until you get to that point, it's just going to be the quick fixes, or you're probably just going to continue to go on diets and thinking, well, let me just restrict in this different way. And you lay out that plan, but you know where that plan goes, because the inner rebel in you and the emotional takeover, it doesn't matter what you have written out in a plan, or that's, on your tracker, or you have like digitally logged and planned ahead of time. It doesn't matter if you have a fridge full of food with healthy food and the options are there. You could have all of that in place. And yet, if you're not willing to see, like, okay, I've done all these things, diet, expecting there's going to be a different healing relationship with food, and it only keeps me in the problem. Well, now I see all the impacts it has on my life, and I need to be doing something different. I need to be doing something radically different. Okay, so that's S. T, talk. Okay, so this one, you can talk and talk and talk and never actually, not actually be any closer to solving the problem, because what you're talking about matters. So rather than talking about the food, we need to be talking about, so rather than talking about what you are eating, we need to be talking about what is eating you. So the subject matter of what you're talking about is important. If you are in your food journey and it is still all about, the chocolate and the ice cream and counting the calories of that, or trying to manipulate, and that is the topic of what it is you're talking about with your friends or with whoever, therapist, could be with a dietitian. If you're talking about all the food, that is the external source that will continue to keep you in the problem. So what you need to be talking about are the things that are eating you. So focus off of the food and focus on the things that you're actually trying to avoid by using the food. Feeling angry, feeling sad, feeling hurt, feeling betrayed, feeling um, not heard, feeling like you're nothing, feeling small, feeling unimportant, not feeling good enough, all of those things. All right, so what you're talking about matters. If you continue to just stay in the groups like emotional eating, binge eating groups, and it's all about the food and the thing, you will stay in the problem. So that's why in these food freedoms, I do talk about like the stuff, the layer underneath the food. It's not because it's not really about the food. And that's the stuff that we're trying to avoid, right? So finding that last week I had done a video on speaking your truth. And I talked about the different people in your life that is important to talk to, right? So you have friends who you can trust and you feel safe with, but then friends aren't necessarily going to completely understand what you're going through. Maybe they commiserate with you. So again, keeping in the problem. Then we have therapists. Therapists are amazing. They can be an anchor in your life to work through some of the feelings. So super important, and to connect with a therapist that you trust and that you really love. That's super important. The fourth group is someone like me. It's a professional who can teach you the how. How do I do it? So I have a lot of clients who come to me and say, I've been working with a therapist for years, but I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. That's where I come in. I'm a step by step by step. I have a guide. I have a 12 module program that I take women through so you can actually understand. So we talk about, you can talk to me about the deeper stuff. So that way the focus is off of food and you actually have a chance to heal. So T equals talk. All right. And it's the quality of talk, right? Not talking about what you're eating, but what's eating you. Excellent. Okay. So next we move on to observe. So STO. O is observe. So the important part is the important part of observe, or the important part of binge eating and breaking the cycle, is not the binge itself. That's where we can get tripped up thinking, I need to just stop the compulsion of the binge itself. Once that cycle starts, I'll be honest with you, it is really fucking hard to stop yourself unless you're working with someone like me that you start to take the practice. I just posted a client win yesterday. Her binge eating's not gone, yet it is less frequent. She's becoming more conscious. She's becoming more aware and less pulled into like, so it gets so out of control that she's eating so much her stomach hurts for days. That's not happening anymore. She's now at this awareness of, okay, I care about myself enough that I don't want that result. So maybe there's still a binge, but it's less frequent, it's less intense, the duration, the consumption, all of that. Because what she's doing is observing in between the binges. What is happening in life? Where is it I want to speak up for myself and I'm not? Where is it I do speak up for myself and then I'm not heard? Where is it I don't set boundaries, right? I feel like people walk all over me. Um, I'm in this job that I don't even really want. All of these ways that we can observe in between the binges that actually are part of why we binge. Because the binge is there for you to take care of yourself. I know you may hate the behavior right now, but I really, really want you to get this. The reason you're binging is because you're doing the best to take care of yourself. And it may seem very counterintuitive because it almost feels abusive. And yet, because there's all these ways that you're not getting your needs met, using food is a indirect your attempt at getting your needs met. And although that isn't really fulfilling your needs, the attempt is there and the intention is there. So really commend yourself for saying, okay, I'm doing the best I can to give myself what I need when I don't know how to give myself what I need, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of that. Okay, spiritually even. Right? So the observation in between the binges, so important. So the observe part, what I want to say before I move on to the final letter P, is that journaling is so important in that part. Even if you just set a timer for 5 minutes and like brain dump all the things you're afraid to say to people around you, who you're angry at, and you're afraid to tell them you're angry. Maybe you have expressed your anger, but you're shouting and the other person's still not hearing you. So put it down on paper. And then that is a way that's like, okay, well, maybe I need to listen to me. It's not about other people hearing me. What if it's about me hearing me? So that journal, that piece of paper, you could just crumple up and throw out if you want. You don't even need to keep it, but dump it, right? So it's not just who you're talking to where you can dump and share there, but it's also getting it down onto a piece of paper. Okay. So that way it's out of your head. It's very cathartic. Um, a creative expression in some way, so when I work with my clients, we do talk about part of our path to healing our relationship with food is some sort of creative outlet. Are you an artist? Have you made jewelry in the past? Do you want to get into something? Do you like how about songwriting or picking up an instrument, or some sort of expression can be very cathartic in helping you heal your food issues. I cannot emphasize that enough. We need to take that pent up energy stored, and instead of using it for a binge, because energy can't be created or destroyed, right? It just shifts. So if we could take that energy we're putting into food and then decide, I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to put it into something good, like create this way to express myself. That's how you take the pressure off, right? And you actually have an outlet that moves the emotion through your body. It's so, so important. Okay. And pen to paper is what I recommend rather than typing. You can type. I mean, if you're a typer, okay, just get it out. But there is something about the pen to paper. And this is why I have in my modules for my coursework with my clients, there are PDF downloads to every single video in the modules. So that way you can actually put a pen to paper and like hear yourself. Like, see what you're writing. Wow. Oh my God, this is coming out of my pen. And I didn't even expect this. I thought it was like, there was nothing there until I started writing, until she asked this question. And I'm like, oh my God, I never thought about that. So there's so much power in the pen to paper. Okay. So in your observe step, definitely, be willing to get that expression out in some creative way, writing, music, jewelry, painting, drawing, sketching, some way. Okay. And of course, moving your body, right? I mean, I have this history of fitness, so that is definitely part of my healing relationship with food. I had to heal my relationship with exercise, but now I also see exercise as this way of like processing emotion. Like I could feel one day like this level of anxiety that's like, oh God, I don't know, I need to be doing this, but I don't want to. And this weird level of energy that I can't. And then I will do a live stream workout with my clients, and I'm like, I know on the other side of this is pent up energy. And I always feel better. I always feel better on the other side of that, because my workouts are not about burning calories anymore. My workouts are way more than that. They are way more than that. Okay, so next up, P for plan. Okay, so it's 11:25. I like to keep these to a half an hour. I value your time, and I want to get right to it. So P is making a plan with a professional. Again, like I started in the beginning of the video, and if you caught me halfway through, I recommend you go back and start from the beginning once I post the video. It's really important for you to get the support along the way. What I will often say is hold the vision and trust the process. First of all, you have to have a vision for what it is you want and how you want to be living your life beyond food issues. Like, what does that even look like? That may even be impossible for you to picture right now. But that's why you have a plan with a professional, because I help you craft the vision. What does that look like? I help you sort through it and work through it and then hold you to it. Right. So having a plan with this idea in mind that, okay, I want you to really think about this. Let's just say it takes you, once you decide, all right, I'm going to abandon dieting. And then if you go to my website, realfit.tv, it says your best life is patiently waiting for you to stop dieting. And that is the truth, my friends. So once you decide, okay, I'm going to honor myself. I want to know what it's like to love myself, accept myself. I want to know that. I want to get to know me. And I know that dieting is not my path there. When you make that decision, let's just say it takes you, let's just say it's like me. It took me 3 years to heal my relationship with food, but I was doing it by myself. Okay. So I'm being conservative here. So I had worked with like one coach throughout the three. So I don't want to say completely. She helped some, but definitely not as much as I was hoping she would help. So the 3 years it took me was still better than another decade ahead of me looking to a diet to fix, looking for the quick fix, looking for it. I would still take that any day. And I bet you would say the same. Do you prefer 3 years of healing or another 10 where we're having yet another conversation about the same thing because I'm not willing to give up dieting. That's got to be the way. I have to be able to manipulate food. I have to use my tracker. I have to count calories. I have to, if that is, that's not quite the path and you want to try to break up with that method, that's the starting point for you. That's how you will get to that path of healing faster. So I will leave you with this. You can set your own plan, but what I will say is Einstein said it best. You can't solve a problem with the same thinking that created it. So how do you create your own plan when it's all you know? It's like setting yourself up for failure. And then you're going to say, see, I'm a failure yet again. I can't follow through on this. No, you're not a failure. It's the plan that's failing you. You're not the failure. All right. It's the plan that's failing you. So, two things. Yep. Thank you, Colleen. P equals plan. And then with a professional, I'm going to add that because that really is the difference between like how long you're really going to be struggling. Do you want to struggle for another 10 years and do it by yourself? Or would you rather take the next year and dedicate like a true path to healing and recovery? For me personally, it's like, okay, if I know it's going to take me another year, guess what? It's better than 5 years and a lot of pain and anguish in the process, right? realfit.tv/talk. I set up the URL and that is where my mindset questionnaire, if you want to jump on the phone with me and talk about some of the talk, right? It's the STOP. I see this as an issue. I want to talk about what's eating me, right? Help me observe, Dana, in between my binges, what is going on. And then the P, the plan with the professional. So that would be me. I can put all those pieces together for you. So it's up to you. Do you want to accelerate and do it a little faster, or do you want to take it on your own? And either way is the right decision because it's the best that you know how to do right now. Okay. So I support you in whatever that decision is, but I feel a responsibility to my community to be available, to be able to talk with you about these things that are very personal, very sensitive. I have so many clients who have been through sexual trauma, all sorts of childhood trauma, and that's the stuff we need support to, like, who are you talking to about those things? And it's not always the best to talk to family and friends about those things. They just aren't equipped to help you, and to really listen and really hear you and support you. Not everyone knows how to do that. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. Love you to pieces. I'm here to support you. I'm here to listen to you so you feel heard and you can get on that path to healing your relationship with food, however that's looking like in your life right now. It's getting in the way of your greatness and you know it. So let me help you clear the path. All right. I will hopefully talk to you on a one-to-one or see you in the VDP. All right. Bye, you guys.